Hello everyone, this is Ruby Bakshi Khurdi from Switzerland. Welcome to our show, Global Inspirations. Today, we have an amazing guest, Donna and Stephen Fry, who are going to be our guests and sharing their story. Here's welcoming Donna and Stephen.
Thank you, Dr. Ruby.
Thank you.
We like to call you Dr. Ruby, but we'll call you Ruby from now on. Thank you so much, Ruby. So we're Donna and Stephen from Adelaide in South Australia.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, and we're very excited to be here and share with you today. And we thank you for having us on your show.
So are we. It's amazing. I just met them a few weeks ago on LinkedIn, where they are doing some amazing series, which I let them share and talk about because it's very interesting and I found it really good. So they had an interview with me regarding their series and I thought, oh, this is worth sharing. It's something great that they're doing and we need to showcase that through our YouTube channel. And here I am sharing their story with them all the way from Australia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruby. And we met Ruby, it'd only be a week or so ago now. We had a great Zoom chat with Ruby, and I still get amazed when I get on a Zoom chat and we start out having a conversation with a stranger, and 30 or so minutes later we end up with a new friend. It is still we're still amazed by that whole process. Dr. Ruby alluded to how we met. Donna and I started a journey on the 27th of November. It's a bit of a story how we got to that, but I'll just start with we made a New Year's resolution to meet someone new every day for the next 366 days. And that journey started on the 27th of November. So we're now 192 days into that. So for the last 192 days, we've met someone that we've never met before, had a conversation with them, had a photograph taken with them and put it on Instagram as a way of recording our journey. So it's been an interesting journey, and it started out physically meeting people. We didn't have any concept of meeting people online. We just went around the neighbourhood and joined the gym, for example. We'd never been to the gym for years, so we joined the gym as a way of meeting people. And then when the whole restrictions came with the coronavirus, we stumbled upon LinkedIn because we still wanted to keep a goal that we started. And we stumbled on LinkedIn and we found LinkedIn an amazing way to connect with people. And that's how we met Ruby. I can't quite remember who would have recommended us to Ruby. Like, we don't randomly go out and just connect with people. They tend to come from connections that we've met who recommended people. Mm-hmm. And that landed us in Sweden from Australia to talk to yourself, Ruby. Hey.
Wow.
Switzerland, sorry, what did I say? Sweden, okay. They both start with an
very
S.
similar.
I was close.
That's all right, yeah.
No, it's really amazing. the thing that you are doing, the way you're connecting with people, sharing their stories, telling about what you are doing and how they are doing, so it's very inspiring when people listen to it. But I was just inquisitive to know if Donna could tell me that why did you start this? What is the reason? What next you're planning to do with all these interviews?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the reason why we started it, and it was probably more Stephen's idea than mine, because in his own words, he said he's a recovering socially awkward engineer. And so we were just on a path of learning and developing ourselves, and we wanted to learn how to connect with people. Mm-hmm. So Stephen had heard of somebody in Seattle, was it, who did something similar when they went out and met somebody new every day, and it was some years ago. Mm-hmm. And he said, oh, that would be a good idea. And I remember him telling me about it and saying, wow, wouldn't this be a good idea to do, but not being too sure how it was actually going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I just said yes, because I guess I'm probably reasonably spontaneous with things like that. So I just said, yep, if you want to do that, let's do it. But then it didn't sort of happen for quite some time. And Stephen might elaborate on that a little bit more in a minute. But the funny thing was, we'd sort of talked about it on and off. And then one day we were just out somewhere and we'd been to an event and we were leaving, and we stopped to talk to a young lady, as we very often did. You know, wherever we went out, we stopped and talked to people, and I was usually the one that initiated the conversations. So we started to talk to this young lady, and then all of a sudden Stephen just said, oh, I've got a question to ask you. And I thought, oh, I wonder where this is going. And then he just said, you know, we've made this New Year's resolution to meet someone every day for the next 366 days. And I went, oh, wow, cool. I guess we've started then.
So that was an amazing start of something unexpected, and it clicked. And that's what has been clicking for such a wonderful time. And here we are talking about it. So after you're done with it, you know, after all the, you know, the mission is over, what is your next plan? Where does it go?
Yep, that's a great question. You know, the more we thought about it, at the moment we're just taking every day as it comes. You know, we know that there's that goal out there that we're aiming to reach, but every day it's like, what are we doing today to make this happen? Because it's not like you just meet someone every day. Like we have to, you know, connect with people, start conversations. So, you know, it's for us, it's a day-by-day proposition. Who are we going to talk to today? Who we've got to tomorrow? So it's helped us understanding what it really does take to reach any sort of goal. Like, you've just got to focus on the here and now, because that's all you can control. You know that's what you're aiming for out here, but right now all we can control is who can we connect with and who can we talk with next, and learning as we go about how better to connect with people, because we definitely today have better conversations and connect better with people than we did, you know, 192 days ago.
Most definitely.
Exactly. Very true. And do you think a change in your personality as well coming up? Like, as you just said, do you think that you're actually evolving in terms of your awkwardness of speaking or breaking into a conversation, Stephen?
Oh, most definitely.
Yes.
I'll get you to, but I'll start off with, I guess, there's a couple of things that, there's one thing I learnt really early on during this process, and that was just controlling what we can control. I know we've heard that before during this coronavirus, and it's almost cliche, but it's so true. Like, when we went out there connecting with people in general public, we had to say hello to enough people to have someone that would want to have a conversation. And I had to learn that if I reach out and say hello to someone and they don't respond, it's not a reflection on me. I used to think, because my self-esteem was so low, that's another long story, that when someone didn't smile back at me or respond, I thought I'd done something wrong. But what I've learned, it's nothing I've done wrong. I've done what I can do, which is I reach out and connect. If they don't respond, that's a reflection on them, not on me. And where they are at in their point in life, which I don't understand because I'm not in their shoes. So I shouldn't also judge them either. The fact that they didn't respond, I should not judge them because I don't understand their. So we've learned so much about that. And we've learnt more about how to listen to people, because we really believe in the 7 habits of highly effective people. There's a whole chapter in there about seeking to understand before being understood. And that's something that we've really are looking to apply through this, so that we can learn from that, because that is, we just believe in that. You know, we've got to think about and understand people before we want to be understood, because the natural reaction, the natural thing is us that we want to do is we want to be understood. But to communicate with someone, you've got to look to understand them first. So, what about yourself? Very
interesting. That's very interesting message that you just said, that a reflection, because sometimes we do feel bad if we smile, the other person did not smile back. Am I the one who he or she is not interested, or why didn't she smile? Sometimes we do feel bad. So that's a very good take, Stephen, that you just pointed out. It's not your fault. It's their, they're missing on something. They did not smile. They missed on a good moment. Maybe it could have come to something beautiful.
Yeah, and it's also, we don't know what's going on in their shoes. You know what happened to what's happened to them in their life up to that point. You know, who knows, they might have had a bad day.
Exactly.
So it wasn't just me understanding it's not a reflection on me, it's also not judging them, because it was quite easy to go, oh, you know, they're just, you know, X, Y, Z, whatever.
Just grumpy or mean or...
but you know, but I'm not them, so it was learning not to judge as well.
Very true, very true.
Seriously, weakness of ours, judging.
No, it certainly was. That's something we both learned about ourselves quite early in the piece, actually. It really kind of was a bit of a slap in the face to me. When I remember so clearly when that became clear to me, because we were at the gym and it was very late at night and we hadn't met anybody that day, and we really, you know, we had about half an hour left, I think, before midnight, and we were determined it was going to be every day. We weren't going to miss a day. And we were leaving the gym, and there was this young guy sitting there, and he was very, very, like, hugely muscly, had gigantic arms, and he was covered in tattoos, and he was sitting with his head down looking on his phone, and he had headphones on. And I was walking past him and I saw Stephen looking at him, and I'm thinking, he looks too scary, no, don't speak to him. and then I saw Stephen stop, and I thought, oh, well, he's going to say hello, so let's see what happens. And Stephen just said the first thing that popped into his head, which was, gee, mate, you've got big arms. and the guy stood up and started to speak. He was just the most lovely person. He was a young 27-year-old who had a wife and a little boy, and he ran his own business, and he'd come out from another country and had all sorts of challenges, and he was just a lovely man. And I remember walking out of the gym and just looking at Stephen and saying, I can't believe how much I judge people by their appearance. And I, you know, after that, I was just determined that I was never, you know, it is a natural human thing. So you have to work on it. You do, but, you know, I'm really determined to change that kind of attitude. Yeah.
Very true, very true. That's again a very beautiful message that you just said. We should not be judgmental, because looks are superficial. You don't know what is going on within the system. So if you're just judgmental, if you would have been more scared and not dared to talk to that person, maybe that day you would have missed your city.
Yes.
There would have been a gap. But because you took a chance and you just went ahead and you discovered a lovely human being, a 27-year-old guy, and who was very receptive, and it went well. So yes, these are small things in life that we have to always learn and keep experimenting, because these things come with when you are ready to take a chance. It's not something just impromptu. Another question which I have been thinking since I met you guys is, do you think it's easy to talk to people online or face-to-face? Anyone can take it first.
That's a very good question. I think the difficult thing is definitely meeting someone out there in general public, because that's the skill we wanted to learn, which was, how do you go, say, walk down the mall or the shopping centre of the town that you live, where there seems to be hundreds of people everywhere. How do you engage in a conversation with people out and about? And that's the skill we wanted to learn. How do we just engage in a conversation without being weird? And that's what we really wanted to develop. And that is a skill that you can learn. And that was the skill we wanted to learn. When we got to getting to connecting with people online, how do I say it? I wouldn't say it was easier, because you still have to have some level of understanding. You still have to communicate with people. It's not like you go online and randomly select someone and say, hey,
exactly.
It's connections of connections, or you've spent a bit of time, having some sort of connecting conversation first. But what we have found on connecting with people online is you have what we see as better conversations, because when we meet someone out in the general public, you'd have a 5 or 10 minute conversation with them, and then that's about it. And it's very hard you don't know enough about each other to seem to be willing to continue on with it, we found. But with connecting with people online, the conversation seems to be really amazingly deeper, because you have this half-hour conversation. Sometimes we talk to people for an
Yes.
hour. Conversation which is, is very concentrated conversation because there's no disturbances. Both parties have set aside the time to talk to one another. And we find in a half an hour you can really have an amazing conversation and really get to know people and actually leave it feeling like, geez, I've got a friend over there in, Switzerland, for example.
Great. Anything else that you would like to add on, Donna, to what just Stephen said in terms of face-to-face conversation or virtual?
Yeah, sure. I think meeting people out and about, you really had to have probably a reason to interrupt their whatever they were doing, whether they were walking somewhere, whether they were shopping, it might be something like, oh, wow, I love that scarf you're wearing. Where did you get it? Or if you're out walking and someone else has a dog and so, oh, what a gorgeous little dog. And most times if you find something like that, a person will stop and actually talk to you. Whereas if you just try to say hello to somebody, that's a bit more difficult because some people might think that is a bit weird. And a lot of people are just innately suspicious and they sort of look and go, why are you talking to me? So yeah, it's a bit funny. But so when we went to online, I guess I found that easier because on LinkedIn, you can sort of go through people's profiles and say, oh yeah, I like, I can connect to this person through this subject that's interesting to me. So if I found someone that said they read a lot of books or they, ride horses or something like that was a common interest, I could easily connect with them and start a conversation.
And I think right now it was very, very, bang on time because of the COVID-19. Everyone was home-based, watching webinars or attending webinars. So practically everyone was in front of the screens. So I guess it was also one of the reasons people were not going out much. Most of the people had their own virtual world. So I guess that also helped in establishing connections for you guys.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, and it's when we thought about it one step further, like the one thing that we'd learnt through mentoring was that, in conversations, one of the things that's really good to do is find some common ground. Because if you find some common ground, and I thought, well, how does that work? Well, it's similar to if I travelled overseas to a foreign country and I meet someone else from my country, you become like instant friends because you have something in common. And so when you're having a conversation, if you can find something in common, the connection becomes deeper. And the amazing thing right now is with the coronavirus is every single person on the planet is connected and has common ground through the fact that we've all got an experience with the coronavirus. So we've been speaking to people in all different parts of the country and everyone has a story about what they're currently going through. So it's such a simple way to connect with people right now. All you've got to do is just ask them, how are you coping with the situation that's going on. So the whole planet, every person on the planet has common ground right now. It really is amazing.
Exactly. So that's where it all comes from, that every person has a story and these stories need to be told. So even though half of the world is saying that Corona time or lockdown time has been bad, we could not do things, we were just in the house all by ourselves. But if you think of the positive side, a lot of people were able to do so many things, make connections. It was social distancing and not emotional distancing. So people got connected through virtual network, but emotionally, and making stories, sharing stories. So it became an amazing time, even though we were going through the worst times, but we took out best out of worst kind of a scenario where we discovered, where we shared a story. The stories which were not told, the stories which need to be told to the world, to share, to inspire, and let other people give a momentum. Give them something that they can look forward to, or look, wow, if they can do, I can do as well. So thank you so much for sharing your story. It was really, really amazing to have you on the show. On concluding remarks, is there anything that you would like to tell to the viewers from your side? Anything?
We've learned that people go, what are you expecting to get out of this? And we truly weren't expecting anything. We wanted to go on a journey of connecting and having conversations without any agenda, because we believe totally in the fact that if we plant enough seeds, we'll reap a harvest. We don't know when we'll reap the harvest. We don't know whether that harvest will be this year or next year. We have no control over that. But we can reach out and connect with people, and we have this belief that connecting with people is adding value to people. Taking the time out to have a conversation with someone means that you're telling them that you have value. So it really is a good thing to do, and it's and it can be learnt. Like as Donna said, I'm a recovering socially awkward engineer. So if a socially recovering awkward engineer can get to the point where he enjoys having conversations, and I'm sure everyone can.
Yeah.
Amazing. Donna,
Ruby?
something else you would like to add on? Anything else?
I would just encourage other people that are thinking about doing something similar, just connecting with people and making new friends, to just take that step and go and do it, because it really is it's such a great learning thing to do, and just it's so lovely to be able to meet so many different people and hear their stories, and just really opens our minds, opens our hearts, and opens our eyes to what's happening all over the world. And it really is amazing. And we've just learnt so much, made some lovely new friends, and we honestly can't wait to one day travel the world and drop in and see some of them. It's going to be awesome. So just take that leap of faith and go and do it.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a great message, that stories don't end there. You might meet the people in the stories in the real world someday or the other. So on that note, thank you so much, Donna and Stephen Fry, on coming on the show, sharing your message with the people and inspiring them with your beautiful nuggets. And guys, if you have anything that you would like to connect with them, I'll be sharing their LinkedIn profile. If you want to be on their show, if you want to talk to them, please connect with them. They are amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Take care.
Dr. Ruby.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.